UFC 314 takes place this weekend. Here are my best bets for the card. Let's get right into the video. PowerPoint presentation loading. Best bets for UFC 314. Let's just jump right into it. The first bet we're going to be talking about is the Finz Hammerlock. We're dropping it early this week. It's my weekly underdog. I give it out every single week. Some people fade it, some people tail it. We lost last week with Pedro Falcao, but we were on a 3-week winning streak before that. Enough of the yap. The Finz Hammerlock this week is going to be none other than Michael Chandler. We have a unit on the sucker, plus 130, going against Paddy Pimblett. I think the number is way off. I think Chandler's going to go out there. He has all the paths to victory. The only thing I'm scared about is potential low IQ issues. You know, Paddy Pimblett, it seems like in his fights, his opponents just seemingly have low IQ. He fought a washed Tony Ferguson, which, I mean, are we going to really put stock in Paddy Pimblett being a washed Tony Ferguson? Then he fought Bobby Green, who almost immediately shot for a takedown, which I don't understand. I still don't get why that happened. And then he also went to a weird decision with Jared Gordon. No wins in Paddy's career would make me think that he will be able to beat Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler has fought the best of the lightweight division. If Michael Chandler were to lose, he could even be cut. He'd be on a 3-fight losing streak. He's desperate. He needs this victory. I'm trusting Iron Mike to go out there and snatch the chin of Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett is there to get hit, and I think Chandler will hit him. It's also a 5-round fight, which I think favors Michael Chandler. He's been in more of them, obviously. So, Finz Hammerlock, lock it in, Michael Chandler. These next bets, they're going to be all money lines. We took 4 money lines in total, including Michael Chandler, but here are 3 more. We got Dominic... Oh, that's... Where'd we go? Here we go. We got Dominic Reyes, Cedric Dumas, and Mitch Raposo. We got a unit on each of them. I'll give you a short breakdown. Dominic Reyes, I think he can only really lose to people that will knock him out, and I'm not really buying Krylov's knockout ability, so let's put a unit on Dominic Reyes. Cedric Dumas, I think he has a very viable path to victory against Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Oleksiejczuk historically does bad against wrestler-grappler types. Dumas may not have the best striking, but Dumas has showed that sometimes he's willing to go out there and wrestle for 15 minutes, which I think is a very viable path for him, and I think he will go out there and do that. And then Mitch Raposo, same thing as Cedric Dumas, very viable path. Just got to go out there and get takedowns and wrestle. Dumas and Raposo are both fighting guys that have mid to poor takedown defense. So as the underdog, their path is to get takedowns, and I think the path is very much so there. You know, Sumer Darji going against Mitch Raposo. Sumer Darji has good striking, but even Charles Johnson was able to take down Sumer Darji. So if he could do that, I don't know why Raposo can't. And Oleksiejczuk, I think the size difference will be a big thing in the Dumas fight as well, and that's going to help Dumas also control Oleksiejczuk. So I think all 3 of these guys, viable paths to victory for all 3 of them. That's why we got a unit on them. Now, these next bets are props. So far, we went the Finz Hammerlock. We went money lines. Now, props. We got a unit on Julian Erosa to win by submission against Darren Elkins. I think Darren Elkins, I'm not really sure what his path to victory is. He usually chain wrestles. He usually tries to grapple. And if he does that against Erosa, Erosa is one of the best anti-grapplers in the game. If you try to grapple him, he will out-grapple you, and I think that's going to happen exactly. I think Erosa is going to find a submission because Elkins is trying too hard to make it a grappling match. So Erosa's submission plus 340, pretty juicy odds. No pun intended, because you know his nickname is Juicy J. So, anyways, Sean Woodson to defeat Dan Ige by decision plus 110. Sean Woodson, I don't think he can knock out Ige. I don't think he can submit Dan Ige. You know, the range is going to be humongous. The size difference is going to be large in this fight. Woodson's going to do what Woodson usually does, which is keep it at range for 15 minutes, and I think he wins an easy decision against Dan Ige. So at plus 110, it's currently minus 105, so I got pretty good odds on that. Feel free to tail. Now, the next play is a parlay. We got a couple parlays on this card. This parlay has a theme, though. The theme is that it's over 1.5 rounds. So over 1.5 rounds. We got 1 unit on it, plus 157 if you parlay these 2 fights to go over 1.5. Chandler and Paddy to go over 1.5, and Chase Hooper and Jim Miller to go over 1.5. I'm not really sure why people think Chase Hooper is going to go out there and starch Miller immediately. Nothing off the tape would make me think Hooper has the ability to do that. I mean, Jim Miller is nearing 43 years old, but it's not like he's getting chinned, you know? Like, he's pretty durable for a 43-year-old. And Chase Hooper, his path is probably to get takedowns and try to submit Jim Miller. But even if that were to happen, I think it'll take more than 1.5 rounds. So that's why I think that hits. And then Chandler Patty, yes, we have a unit on Chandler, but I don't see how this fight finishes in round 1. It's a 5-round fight. So if it doesn't finish in round 1, we just got to bank on the first 2.5 minutes of round 2 not ending. And I think that's very viable. I think they're going to feel each other out. It's going to be a feeling out process. This often happens in Chandler fights. Almost every Chandler fight in the UFC has gone over 1.5, except maybe the Tony Ferguson one. Even the Gaethje one went over 1.5. The Dustin Poirier fight went over 1.5. The Charles Oliveira, the second fight, went over 1.5. Patty's fights almost always go over 1.5, other than his Bobby Green fight. I think this is a pretty good parlay. Now we got another parlay, but this time we're parlaying 2 spreads. Now, let me explain what a spread is. So if you take someone plus 3.5 spread, that means that, number 1, they cannot get finished, all right? Number 2, they have to win at least a round on all 3 scorecards. And number 3, they can lose the fight. That's why you take the spread. You take the spread when you think there's a chance that the fighter loses, but you think the fighter keeps it competitive, it doesn't get finished. So, enough of the yap. The spread parlay of UFC 314 is right here. We got Mitch Raposo. We have a unit on him straight up. But if that doesn't work out, I'm banking on him surviving Sumer Darji at least and covering his plus 3.5 spread. So there's that. And we're parlaying it with a pretty confident parlay piece. Yair Rodriguez minus 310 plus 3.5. So that means that we need Yair to win a round and not get finished. I think Yair will most definitely win the first round. The problem with parlaying just Yair is I'm scared that he might gas out after round 1. I'm scared his IQ might manifest itself and Patricio, his championship round experience, pulls through. So I think Yair wins round 1. I'm hesitant to take his money line, though, because I think there is a chance he does fall off as the fight progresses. So plus 3.5 for Yair. Pretty solid piece, unless he gets submitted, which I doubt. And Mitch Raposo, plus 3.5, pretty solid piece, unless he gets KO'd, which I doubt. So 1 unit, it's plus 120 if you do it now. DraftKings has the spread bets, so good luck. And then we have one more play for UFC 314. This is the final play of the card. It's actually 2 plays in 1. So we basically took the money line of a fighter, and we take the over 1.5. You combine them, and you get plus money. Who did we do that for? Well, we did it for Alexander Volkanovski. So he needs to win, and it needs to go over 1.5. Plus 110. We threw 1 unit on that. So I think Volk is, if Volk wins, it's not because he's finishing Diego Lopes in the first 2 rounds. So Volk's win condition is for this fight to go over 1.5. Therefore, if you parlay Volk with over 1.5, you get plus 110. I think it's pretty free. So there's the logic for that. And then Verna Jandiroba, I mean, she could, in theory, submit Yan Xiaonan early. But in fights where she gets submissions, it's very rarely happening in round 1. So even if she were to finish Yan Xiaonan, I sincerely doubt it happens early. So Verna Jandiroba, her money line plus the over 1.5, you can get plus 100 on that. You get her from minus 150 to plus 100 just by Verna not finding a finish in the first round and a half. I think that's pretty logical. I think a lot of the reason people are taking Yan Xiaonan is because it's a coin flip fight, and you take the plus money side in a coin flip fight. But if you're able to manipulate the lines like this and make Verna plus money, it kind of seems free. I mean, am I right? It kind of seems free. The Volk bet seems very free if he doesn't get knocked out in round 1, of course. So, yeah, these are my bets. Thank you for getting to the end of an episode of Finz Chats. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments, are you tailing any of these bets? Are you tailing the Finz Hammer Lock? Tomorrow, I will be posting a short that will give you my 3 best bets of the card. These are just all of them. But tomorrow, 3 best bets we've been smacking. We've been hitting at least 2 of the 3 in a majority of these 3 best bets cards videos. So make sure you have a great rest of your day, you savage.